He didn't read all right. That's not a miracle. Is talking a miracle?
Yes,
talking is, so I'm miraculous. If you're saying some people can see Allah, then when the Quran says no vision can see Allah, you've got a contradiction. So the light that is veiling him, is greater than Allah's light. Is that light created or uncreated? It's created. So a created light is superior to the light of Allah. Bro, we can't have a conversation. There's no conversation to be had with you.
Of course, because you know.
There's no conversation to be had with you. It's impossible to have a conversation with you.
Because you can't answer.
Because he just interrupts constantly. He just interrupts constantly. Well, let me ask you, do you support Hamas?
This church, they send it to Afghanistan and Vietnam and Iraq.
You what, sorry?
To kill innocent people.
Do you support Palestine's struggle against Israel?
I do. If they came over there...
Who's leading that struggle? Yeah. In the Gaza.
Brother, if they came over there, they never finished because they put them...
And this is why you can't have a conversation with him. Just like that, he interrupts you constantly. Anyway, have a good day.
Saints, Bob,
Godspeed.
Said the truth. All time shouting and screaming like
So,
pussy, not a man.
Yes, mate, sure.
Man, talk to me. Any questions?
So any questions on what I talked about?
Any questions on Hamas, Israel, conflict? What's the topic again?
So we were talking about, we had a jihadi Islamist who was openly supporting Hamas. He was a Muslim here in the park. He's gone now, he's gone.
But don't you know that in every religion you've got good and bad? You've got good people and you've got bad people. They've got nothing to do with religion.
I agree. Every religion has good and bad people. So then you look at what the prophets and the example of the prophets gave them. Now in Christianity we look towards Jesus Christ. In Islam you look towards Muhammad.
In Islam we respect Muhammad, Jesus, all of them.
You say that, but you follow Muhammad. The example that you follow is Muhammad.
We believe that whatever Muhammad's message was, the same with Jesus' message was the same. All of them.
No, I obviously disagree with that. I disagree with that completely. I think that's total baloney, really. Can you prove to me that Jesus and Muhammad taught the same message? What was the message of Jesus?
I believe their message
Give him the verse that says, whoever speaks to you bad, speak to him nice. Whoever is bad to you, speak to him nice. That verse. That's Jesus' teachings. Tell me.
just told them. There you go. He just told you.
What was, no, what was the message of Jesus? Let me do it. Right, do you want to talk to him or do you want to talk to me? Because I can just go somewhere else. Do you want to talk to me or do you want to talk to him? Right, let's talk then. So what was the message of Jesus?
Turns out the trick.
The message of Jesus was, I'll be straight with you, I'm not fully educated in all education, but from what I know, I believe the message was peace, and the message was the word of God that he sent. He tried to give us a structure of how to live, how to behave. I believe if this message wasn't here, everybody would be animals. Do you understand? I believe these messages brought structures to our life. They teach us how to live as a human being, how to respect each other.
Okay, so what I would say to you is that's very kind of broad and generalized, and you've already admitted, and you know, compliments to you for your honesty, that you're not particularly educated about what the previous prophets revealed. So let me actually tell you what Jesus, let me tell you what Jesus actually taught. Jesus actually taught that he was the Messiah, and that in his coming, the kingdom of God had come on earth. He taught that his body would be given and his blood would be spilled for the forgiveness of sins. And in that, a new covenant would be established. A new covenant, not like the Mosaic covenant. So Jesus teaches a message that is radically based upon himself as a person. And when you look at what the Old Testament teaches about the Messiah, you realize that this isn't just a man. It can't just be a man. He's more than a man. He is a man, but the prophet is just a man. A prophet is just a man.
Moses was a prophet as well.
Was he just a man?
He had some sort of, sorry man, my English is not that good. He had some sort of, you know when you turn the stick into a snake, he could perform some magic as well.
But he was still a man.
But same as Jesus.
Jesus was more than a man, he was God also.
But look, I just have a question. You say Jesus was God, right?
Yeah.
Did Jesus ever go toilet?
Yeah, of course he did.
But how can God go to it?
No, I mean, you say that like you've proven something. Like, no, honestly, yeah, and I'm going to answer it. Because we believe that God has become incarnate and took upon himself a human nature. And that human nature is a real human nature, and so it does all the things that human natures do, including going to the toilet. But let's get back to the point, because I know when I say that Jesus is God, Muslims resort to a script, and you've just exemplified that script beautifully. But the reality is Jesus claims to be the Jewish Messiah. The Jewish Messiah is a divine figure. He's not just a man. And that's shown in the Old Testament. Do you want me to show you? Yeah, in the Old Testament where the figure is divine, not just human. Okay. So, one of the titles of the Messiah, and the title that Jesus uses of himself the most often in the New Testament, is the title the Son of Man. Right? You'll see all the way through the New Testament. Jesus always refers to himself as the Son of Man. It's the favorite reference that he uses to himself. Okay? Bear with us. Right. So, this is the prophet Daniel, and he's speaking before Christ. So this is before Christ's time. All right? And he's speaking, and I want you to read this passage with me, okay? I kept looking in the night visions. So this is like he's having a vision that's given to him by God. I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man was coming. So this is the title that Jesus uses of himself. Yeah?
May I ask a question before you continue?
Yeah, go on.
You see here it says Son of Man. Why did it not say Son of God?
Because this is the title that is given to this figure, and Jesus uses.
Why would the title not Son of God?
Doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be.
If he is the God,
doesn't need to be.
How can God be them?
It doesn't need to be.
Can I just read that one more time?
Yeah.
How can God be Son of Man?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, totally. Enjoy your day. So, in terms of the Son of Man, the point that you've made is completely irrelevant, because the title is not important. What's important is the person that the title is given to.
Would that not be a little bit misleading?
It doesn't matter.
This is a car, but you say that's a bottle.
But if I call that a car, will it still contain water?
That's a different thing. The one I'm saying.
No.
If this is a bottle,
brother, it doesn't matter how many times you interrupt. We're still going to read this passage.
No, of course we can.
Okay. So the passage states, one like the Son of Man was coming, and he came up to the Ancient of Days. Now, just to save me going into it, I'll just tell you who the Ancient of Days is. The Ancient of Days is God. Yeah, you have a lovely day, love. Don't let anyone bug you. Yeah. So he came to the Ancient of Days, so that's God, and was presented before him. So this is two figures. Yeah. And to him was given dominion, glory, and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and men of every language might serve him. Now, who rightfully should receive the submission of the entire world? Who?
I'll let you say.
You know who? God. Yeah, exactly. God. Yeah, exactly. God. Right? Yeah. Oh no. So this figure is receiving the submission of the entire world, which is rightful only to God, that they might serve him. Please note that they might serve him, the Son of Man. Yeah? His dominion is an everlasting dominion. Whose dominion is everlasting? God's. You know that. I know that. There's no need to labour the point. So this Son of Man, and that is a prophecy of the Messiah, this Son of Man, whom Jesus calls himself the Son of Man, is more than just a human being. He's also divine, because that's what the Old Testament teaches about the Messiah. Okay, your reply.
Can I just read it to the end, bro?
Yeah.
We didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I just want to see how it ends in it.
Yeah. So his dominion is an everlasting dominion which will not pass away, and his kingdom is one which will not be destroyed. Now, whose kingdom and dominion is that? God's. So the Son of Man is God. And Jesus calls himself the Son of Man. And I'll show you where he does it, just so you can see. Yeah, absolutely. That's totally
Son
fine.
of Man, what does that mean?
Yeah. It's just a title. It's a title from the Old Testament. It's like a king. It's just a title, or a president. It's a title. Okay. So let's have a look at it. Matthew, bear with us.
Son of Adam, Son of Man. that what it means? Son of mankind.
So, right. Okay, so this is a passage that I'd ask you to read in full on your own. It's in Matthew chapter 27. I'm just going to read the pertinent point to what I've just referred to.
But then it wouldn't make sense if you could not read all of it.
Yeah, well, you can do that. I've told you where it is, Matthew 27. I am just going to read the point that's pertinent to the bit that I've just told you. Because I've just shown you that the Son of Man is a divine figure. Now I'm going to show you that Jesus calls himself the Son of Man. So this is at Jesus' trial before Caiaphas. Okay? And it goes, the high priest stood up and said to him, that's talking to Jesus, do you answer? What is it that these men are testifying against you? But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest said to him, I adjure you by the living God that you tell us whether you are the Christ, the Son of God.
Can you read that part one more time?
Yeah, I'm going to finish and then we'll go back through it. That you tell us whether you are the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, you have said it yourself. Nevertheless, I tell you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man, so he's talking about himself, sitting at the right hand of the power and coming in the clouds of heaven. God, the Father.
So, if you don't mind,
yes.
Just one more question. You see here where you just read there, you said he's sitting by the side of the power.
Yes.
So how can God sit beside himself? Can I sit beside myself?
Right. So this is because of the Islamic script that you guys are taught about Christianity. But I'm just saying, if you listen to me, you might get an answer to your question. But because of the Islamic script that Muslims say to themselves, they say something that we Christians don't say. We don't say that God sits next to God in the sense that you're thinking of it, like one is sitting next to one. What I'm going to, but if you keep interrupting, I just have to take longer to. So it is because you're reciting a script to yourselves. So we say that the Son is sitting next to the Father because we believe that the one God exists as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So we say the Son is sitting next to the Father. That is what we say.
So you're telling me this God is in three?
Yes.
So there's three different people that's God. So you've got Spirit, you've got Jesus, and you've got the Father.
We say that, that there's three hypostases.
How does that work out? Could you explain?
Yeah, well, really easily. Because is your problem the idea that one can be three and three can be one? Well, are you standing in three-dimensional space right now?
That got nothing to do with that.
It really does. It really does. Because if you, and you will, recognize that you're standing in three-dimensional space, then you accept that singularity and plurality are not contradictory factors.
Can it be three of me and then be one at the same time?
Again, let's use the analogy that I'm using. Wait a second. Let's use the analogy that I'm using. Do you accept or not that you're standing in three-dimensional space?
I don't even understand what that means.
That's all right. Maybe you didn't do physics. So, as someone who studied physics, let me tell you as a matter of fact, an indisputable fact, a fact that if you argue against it, you're going to look like an idiot. You are standing in three-dimensional space. Now, do you experience that three-dimensional as three or one? Now, this is a question you can answer because you're just answering from your experience. This space surrounding you, do you experience it as one or three?
I don't understand your question.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
So if you're anything,
you guys understand what you're saying? I don't understand.
Now it's funny. Does anyone?
So I can engage as well.
No. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right. You get it. You get it. Now, isn't it strange that whenever I use this, do you get what I said?
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, fair. I'm talking about three-dimensional space being singular. It's an experienced singularity. He gets it. Now, please note, because I always find this interesting, that all the non-Muslims get it straight away. And all the Muslims go, I don't know what you're saying. Now, doesn't that tell you something?
No, because it doesn't.
Well, how is it he gets it and he gets it and I get it, but the only ones that don't get it are only Muslims?
Maybe they know better English.
No. Well, did you get what I said?
I don't understand it.
Did you get what I said?
I hear what you said.
Did you get what I said? What you said? Okay. So your objection to the Trinity was. Wait. No. Yeah, you can jump in. I'm not going to exclude you from the conversation. But no. That's fine. That's fine. But I promise you, If you interrupt, I'm just going to speak louder, and I'm not going to let you speak. If you want to have a conversation, then that means all you need to do is let me finish replying to him, and then I'll come to you. Is that all right? Is that all right? Let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying to him. Right. Well, don't interrupt, and I won't need to shout. I won't need to shout if you don't interrupt. So let me finish what I'm... Yes, absolutely. Yes, if you can be patient for 2 minutes, you will be able to speak. So, I'm going to explain it again. We exist in three-dimensional space. This dimension, and this dimension. We know that these are dimensions, and we know these dimensions are exactly like the other dimensions, but they are one thing. We experience them as one thing. And so the idea that plurality and singularity are contradictory is a myth. It is not true. And your objection was, how can 3 be 1 and 1 be 3? Well, we live in three-dimensional space, and you've got no problem with that. So you've got no problem with the concept of plurality and singularity. He got it, I got it. Now you would like to reply.
The concept of God, which it doesn't, right? What did you understand from what you just said? That there are 3 dimensions, and we live in them, and that those 3 dimensions...
Well, let him finish.
That's what I got. Okay? And that those 3 dimensions are also one.
So he got it.
And you understand?
He got it.
But he's saying that this...
So what they're upset about is that you get my argument, and it exposes that they don't get it.
We're not upset. And it doesn't expose anything. False, at least. Because I don't...
So do you want to talk to me? Right, I'll continue talking to you.
No.
All right, you talk then.
Yeah, I've got a question.
It's got to be on topic, bro. I'm not jumping
Can
around.
you answer the clear contradiction in the Bible, where it says, who's incited David to count the fighting men of Israel? God did. In Samuel 24:1. But in the Chronicles 21:1, it says Satan did.
Can you read it in Chronicles 21?
Because
read it in Chronicles. Read it in Chronicles. Read it in Chronicles. Read it in Chronicles. What does it say in Chronicles?
So, one moment. But don't talk over me, yeah?
Well, don't do that.
Yeah, but don't talk over me.
Okay, well, I'm having a conversation with him about the Trinity. You're bringing in something entirely different. I will come and find you, and we'll talk about that. Yeah, right. No. I'm sorry. I'm not going off topic. I want to finish this conversation with you. No. All right. So you guys talk to yourselves, and I'll
go wait in front of the whole crowd.
No, not really. Because no. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Read it in Chronicles.
So here it is.
Read it in Chronicles.
It says Satan did.
Right, and what's
raise your voice?
Well, don't interrupt, because that's how I feel.
Please don't do that.
So, right, so we agree. You're not going to interrupt me, and I'm not going to shout.
So please don't do that.
Are we agreed? Right. So you don't interrupt, and I won't shout. And what about your friend?
He's responsible for his own actions.
Well, if he interrupts, then I've got to shout. That easy. Right. So 24:1.
I'm not a babysitter.
Now 24:1. Now again, the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and incited David against them to say, go and number Israel and Judah. Everybody say Israel and Judah.
But who incited it?
Israel and Judah. Right, what's the other passage?
But who incited it?
What's the other passage?
God did, right?
What's the other passage?
The other passage said that Satan did. It's
What's the...
Chronicles 21:1.
What? Chronicles 21:1.
1 Chronicles 21:1. It says that Satan did, not God.
Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Sorry, what was it again?
Here you go, bro. 1 Chronicles 21:1.
1 Chronicles 21:1.
Yes. No, I'm checking what he's reading, because it sounds
right.
similar.
So 21:1. Then Satan stood up against Israel and moved David to number Israel. Now, did you hear the difference? God called David to number Israel and Judah.
Number, yeah, to count them.
But Satan stood up against David to incite him to number Israel. So these are not the same event. They are not a contradiction. God made David number Israel and Judah, and then Satan came to David and made him number Israel. Now we've done a contradiction in the Bible. Let's do a contradiction in the Quran. Now let's do a contradiction in the Quran.
That wasn't a good explanation for that. Yeah, it didn't even convince me, sir.
Doesn't matter if it doesn't convince you.
It does, because I'm searching for the truth.
You're not searching for the truth.
But who says I'm not?
I don't believe you.
It's you who says that.
I don't believe
You
you.
don't believe it, then why are you having a conversation with him?
Because he's entitled to have a conversation. I've got no problems with talking to people who are
So
insincere.
you don't believe him, you don't believe what he says,
Yeah.
you don't care if
quite
he
useless, my
believes
friend.
you.
Right. So now let's talk about a contradiction in the Quran. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about contradiction. I thought. Do you see why I've got to raise my voice?
Can I not say one thing just before
Of course you
start?
can. Go for
Alright, then,
it.
let's not
Go
go
for it.
This is some advice to you. I reckon you should learn how to speak with manners and respect, because if you don't, you need to understand that there are consequences for the way you speak.
Are you trying to threaten me? Are you trying to threaten me?
It's actually not a threat.
The man that called me a dog is now telling me to speak with manners.
Yeah, you should.
There you go.
you deserve
He
it?
called me a dog that says I should speak with manners. Well, what's the consequences, bro?
That's a consequence in itself.
Yeah. So there you go. So
You Christians always thinking about violence.
yeah.
I just called you a dog. That's when
There you go. He called me a dog by his own admission, and then demands that I talk with manners. And this is the conceitedness of the Muslims in the corner. Right, don't run away from the contradiction in the Quran. Don't run away from the reason why they're talking to you is because they don't want to talk about contradictions in the Quran. So let's talk about contradictions in the Quran. Okay?
Words as well. It's not always violent.
Let's talk about contradiction in the Quran. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ready for what?
Okay, we're going to talk about contradictions
How are you going to
in
ask
the
somebody
Quran.
who doesn't know the Quran? Well, how are you going to ask?
Right?
Are you searching for the truth or what?
Bear with us. Yeah, bear with us.
Doesn't make sense, my brother.
Right.
But why are you still having a conversation with someone that you don't believe and you don't care?
Wait,
if they
yes,
believe what
Because whether I think is sincere is irrelevant to whether I have a conversation with
You're
him.
still being disrespectful to him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's look at a contradiction in the Quran. All right.
Has his own falsification text. Doesn't need to. If he really reads it.
But he's taking a long time to find a contradiction.
No problem. He can
Well, you came prepared, didn't you? So I'm now looking for one, aren't I? Yeah.
You can just say it. You can just say it now while you're searching.
No, I'll find it first. Thank you. It's all right.
What does it talk about?
Okay. So here's a contradiction in the Quran. Do you want to get your Qurans out so you can follow the argument?
Who says that I have a Quran?
I'm assuming that you have a Quran. Okay, fair enough.
Assuming, man, Bob. Stop assuming.
Why are you getting upset? You're really upset.
That's almost prejudice,
Right,
Bob.
okay. No. The man's calling me a dog. You interrupted a conversation that I was having with him, and now you're demanding manners. I find that ironic. Yeah, I deserve it.
I never interrupted.
I deserve it.
I never interrupted.
There you go.
I joined the conversation by your permission.
Yeah. No, not by my permission.
No, you told me
You
could
asked
join the
him.
conversation.
You asked him.
No, but
And I
there's
said,
witnesses. You
so.
said you could join the conversation, Bob.
Yeah. But I wanted
not
it to
trying
be
to
on
pressure you,
topic.
my friend.
I wanted it to be on topic.
Just say the contradiction.
So let's go to Surah 6, Ayah 103.
The Quran on my phone as an app.
So you do have the Quran?
As an app.
Surah 6, Ayah 1.
No, 103.
103.
Yeah.
Surah 6, Ayah what?
Ayah 103. Tell me when you're there, guys.
Yes.
Surah 6, Ayah 103.
And he is subtle, the acquainted.
Right. So, the Quran states in Surah 6, Ayah 103, that no vision can grasp him. We're all clear about that. The Quran is saying no vision can see Allah.
As an Arabic speaker.
Right. One second. Let me show you the contradiction.
But listen.
Let-
It's
let-
in Arabic, not in English.
Let me finish the contradiction. Okay.
Maybe we can learn something today.
So in Surah 75, Ayah 22 and 23. 22, Surah 75, 22 and 23.
It's not a contradiction.
Okay. Now, in Surah 75, Ayah 22 and 23, it says, "And some faces that day shall shine radiantly, looking towards their Lord." So, can you see Allah or not?
First, you have to be subjective in our
Resurrection, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna see Allah.
You shouldn't be biased. You should look at it in a subjective way.
Okay.
We cannot see God in our life, but we can see, but we can see Him in the afterlife.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, when the Quran states no vision can grasp him, where does it say in this world?
Even in the afterlife, no one can look at him except the people that are in the heaven.
Now,
because we know that Prophet Muhammad, he actually interprets Quran in his life. So we have to look at him also. We shouldn't like only read the Quran, because the Quran is translated by Muhammad to people. So some verses are already interpreted by the Prophet.
Now let me reply, because what you've done is confirm the contradiction. Because what you said, no, I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt, or I have to raise my voice. So we can have a conversation.
I didn't say that.
Right. So if you interrupt me, I just raise my voice, and then he feels like I'm dragging his balls across. You know, don't be kind. Exactly, shattered glass. And we don't want to do that to the guy. It's cruel.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Let's not do that. So you've confirmed the contradiction, because you just said that no vision can see Allah, and then you qualified it by saying in this world. And then I said, show me where it says in this world. And rather than show me where it says in this world, which you can't, what you said is even in the next world, except some people. So if you're saying some people can see Allah, then when the Quran says no vision can see Allah, you've got a contradiction. Because you can't have no vision in one hand and some vision on the other. Those two things contradict.
It talks before
Yeah.
It talks before about that they are in the afterlife now. If you read the verses before,
It's a whole chapter, right? And you just cherry picked one verse.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds out of context.
If you read just from the 13th verse until the contradiction, you say, you'll find that they are in the afterlife right now.
Yeah.
And that there are some people who are tortured because of their bad deeds, and there are people who are so blessed they get the chance to see God. If you read
the chapter called, by the way, that he chapter 100 and what was it?
It was Surah 75, 22 and 23.
If you read, it talks about the apocalypse that will happen. I do not swear, لا أقسم بيوم القيامة means I do not swear by, I do swear by the judgment day. So the first word is about judgment. So it's not a contradiction, because it approves of what I said. You cannot see God except after this test that He put in us. Because this world is a test.
So hold on. You're go on. Finish your point.
It's like if you look at it as a school, as a class. So before the exam, you'll have to study and open book and look at the answers and start memorizing, making notes. But at the exam is set, you cannot open it again. So this is and after the exam you'll get either fail or you'll pass. So this is an exam. So that's why you cannot see the.
So when it says no vision, it doesn't mean no vision.
No, it means al-absar means our vision.
Right, and is that still our vision? Is it not human beings that are seeing in the next life?
What do you mean?
So the reality is that it is a created vision that sees Allah in both verses. But the Quran is saying no vision can see Allah. But then it's saying that in the afterlife, some people will see Allah. That's a contradiction.
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. When you see Allah, it means you have cornered it in one.
I get your argument.
Allah is so great that there's nothing that can I don't know contain him. So if you looked at him, it's like you contained him, and there's nothing that you can. There's a verse that ليس كمثله شيء. There's nothing like him.
So simple question. According to the Quran, will you see Allah or not?
There is even actually in Islamic scholars, there is some people that say you will not see his face, you will see his light, but there is other scholars.
Is seeing his light seeing him?
Yeah, no. They say you will not see him.
So it's not him. His light is not him.
Because he has a light. He has a hijab.
I'm talking subjectively. I'm not being biased. I'll give you all
in the afterlife, some people. He will take his hijab off and he'll allow them to see him.
It's not hijab.
Allow them to see him.
It's not hijab.
Hijab just means veil. Hijab just means veil.
Not veil. He's not wearing a veil. It's, in Arabic, when you say there's a hijab between you and me, there's something that prevents you from looking like a wall. It's not like he's wearing a veil.
But Muhammad himself said that how could I have seen Allah? Allah is veiled in light. So actually this brother is not wrong.
Actually, Muhammad did not see Allah.
He didn't. Yeah, he said, how could I see him? He's veiled in light.
In light.
So whose light is that? It's his light. So if it's his light, you're seeing him.
No, you can't.
Is the light created or uncreated?
Okay, no. So say for example,
It's part of him. So if you're seeing a part of him, you're seeing him, aren't you? So it's created.
So say for example.
So it's created.
No. So say for example.
Is it created?
If I put something over myself, fully covering myself, can you see me or what I put over?
If you put something over you, I see the thing that you cover yourself with.
Exactly. So you're not
Right.
actually seeing
So
me.
now may I answer this question? Answer me this question. Is that thing that covers Allah created or uncreated?
We just opinion. Yeah, we just point out the two.
Right. So here's the problem. You're saying that no sight can encompass Allah, but you're saying that something that is created can. And that is a contradiction.
No, it's not a contradiction.
You didn't even hear what he said. What did he say?
No, I'm talking about
No. You just said that I said that's a contradiction. You didn't even hear what I said.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. What
Right.
was the...
There we go. So what the brother said was that he's going back to his idea that Allah covers himself in light, like a hijab, like a niqab. Let me finish. He did say that. Am I misrepresenting you?
I said there's a veil. There's a veil in front of it.
Right.
But
And you used the analogy of the niqab, did you not?
No, I said hijab means veil.
Then he explained.
Hijab doesn't mean that, but it means modesty. The veil is something different. So in terms of what you're saying.
Just 1 minute, let him continue.
Yeah. So the brother basically used the analogy of if he covered himself with something like a niqab, that I wouldn't see him, I would see the niqab covering him. I agree, that's a logical argument. And then I asked the question, the light that covers Allah, is it created or uncreated? Is it a part of him or is it not? This brother said it was a part of him. If it's a part of him, then you're seeing Allah. If it's created, then you're not seeing Allah. But if it's created and you're not seeing Allah, then that means something that is created encompasses Allah.
Again. Just 1 minute. Again, firstly, he's not a scholar. So what he's saying, you cannot pin it to him and saying that this argument failed because.
Are you a scholar?
No.
So the same applies to you.
But you're not a scholar either. I'm well researched.
Okay.
Right?
How do you know he isn't?
Just let me tell you, because his argument, but that does mean he's. I'll tell you what I mean. When you see, if you saw his light, then you saw him. You cannot see Allah because he's above your
Imagination.
It's like you cannot contain him. He's so
He knows
great
that. He already knows that.
When we say Allah, I don't imagine a man sitting on a throne. I don't give him there's no image for Allah. That's why in Islam we don't paint him. There is no image. ليس كمثله شيء. There is nothing like. Second, the light does not cover him. It's you who cannot see him.
When Muhammad said, I have not seen Allah because he is veiled in light.
No, he doesn't.
Was that
he
true?
didn't
That's
say
a
that.
hadith.
Yeah,
That's a hadith. It's a Sahih hadith
but
from Bukhari.
but I don't think you quoted correctly.
Where is it in the text?
What does he say then?
It says no. Actually, the hadith I'm not familiar with, so I don't. But
So how do you know it doesn't say that?
I'll tell you why.
So how do you know it doesn't say that if you don't know the hadith?
Because I know the story.
Well, bro, you need to practice what you preach.
Because I know the story. I've listened to thousands of times.
Okay, guys, listen.
He went to a place where he entered. There is a light. And from that light, he cannot see anything. But God then revealed the obligations he had to come down then and give to them.
So the light that is veiling him,
But that doesn't mean that this.
so the light that is veiling him is greater than Allah's light. It must be, logically.
It's the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad.
But it's logically, bro. Think about what you're saying. You're saying that this light that Allah.
I didn't say it covers.
Brother, you got to let me speak, because you got to let me speak. You got to let me speak.
You're picking words from me and then you're doing a statement.
Then choose better words. So you got to let me speak. You said that this light prevents us seeing Allah. That means that this light, which I want to ask from your opinion, one second, is that light created or uncreated? It's created. So a created light is superior to the light of Allah. because it stops you from seeing the light of Allah. That's like saying that God creates a rock that he can't pick up. You've just done the equivalent.
Saying that God, saying that, there's a point.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
When you say,
why didn't you stop him from interrupting him?
Just 1 minute.
Dude.
Listen to him, man.
When you say God...
Why didn't you do that when he interrupted?
Listen to him, man.
But why didn't you do that when he interrupted? No, I'll come back to him. But why didn't you do that when he interrupted? It's funny that. There, go on.
A rock that he cannot pick up. Saying that is a contradiction by itself.
Would you agree it is?
No.
So you're saying God can create a rock that he can't pick up? That's you're saying that's not a contradiction?
It's like saying, can you hear this white color?
So you agree? So it's a nonsensical statement?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Of course.
I agree. But so he's saying that God can create a light that is greater than his light. That is the same thing.
He
did not
say that. The same scope.
You said that.
You did say that.
You said cover. He said cover. I'm telling you, you cannot contain him in a space. You cannot cover him.
So, did you say or did you not say that God creates a light that prevents you from seeing him?
What?
Did you say or did you not say that God creates a light that prevents you from seeing him?
I did not say that.
Okay, repeat your argument then, because I must have misheard.
I said, there's the verse you showed us that visions can't foresee him, right?
Yes.
I told you because he's greater than to be contained in a light or in a spectrum. It's like, have you listened?
You don't want to put that mic on him, he's about to get destroyed.
Have you said that, have you ever heard of the frequencies and there's lights and there's spectrum you cannot see?
Yep.
At this definition, you cannot see God because he's in a whole different spectrum and he cannot be contained.
So for now, eyes can't even
So come back to this idea that Muhammad said that how could I see Allah? He is veiled in light.
Yeah, but when he said that in the hadith that I've never seen yet.
Okay, maybe something for you to research.
Yeah, of course. I'm not a scholar.
Fair enough.
So when you said he's covered in light, that doesn't debunk my discussion. He said there's a light between me and him that prevents me of seeing him. That doesn't mean it is covered. It's not covered. When you say God is covered, it means he's contained. And God says, "Laysa kamithlihi shay." Nothing is like him. So there's nothing as giant, as vast as him. So if you say there's a light that covers him, that means
Muhammad said that.
All right, then the translation you have read may be wrong.
Or maybe it's right.
Maybe it's wrong.
Or maybe it's right. I mean, the thing is, right now.
If you have that, let me read.
Yeah, I'll have to get it. But in terms.
But doesn't debunk my because it doesn't debunk what I said. Because the definition.
No. Hold on 1 second. What you've got is an absolute statement in the Quran that says no vision can see Allah.
Proceed.
And then another statement.
No, it says see. Proceed.
Let's have a look.
Come on.
Let's have a look.
So seeing and proceeding is a total.
It says no vision can encompass him.
His teeth look like
Yes, no vision can encompass
that does
him.
not contradict.
Right, hold on 1 second. No, it does, because if you're saying that no vision can encompass him, 1 second, then any vision sits upon a spectrum, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it sees him in part, does it not?
I don't know that.
Right.
I can't say that.
Is that context?
But that means that there is some vision. No, hold on 1 second. If you're saying your argument is no vision can encompass him in his totality, and then what we're saying is in the other verse it says some of them will see his face. 1 second, no. Let me finish my point. But the problem with that is that what you have then moved is into a quantity difference. But that means that it's not that no vision can see him, it is that some vision can see him. And that is the contradiction. No vision can see him is an absolute.
Does it say see? It says perceive.
Encompass him.
Then you just made a verse from your own mind.
Encompass him.
Encompass
him.
Yeah. But
a bit like you should.
What the verse says.
Or rather he should.
Come on, Bobby.
Rather he should.
Wait, what is the verse say?
You know what I'm talking about.
It says encompass him. So encompass him means that vision now sits on a spectrum, doesn't it? A quantity.
Before Jesus Christ saved him, according to him.
Yeah. Encompass him means a quantity, doesn't it? Right? So no vision can grasp him. He grasps all vision. Right, so that's the totality, isn't it?
You see what you changed the meaning.
Yeah, so it's the totality, isn't it?
You changed the meaning.
No, it's a totality, isn't
But you
it?
changed the meaning.
Is it a totality?
What? It's
Yeah, thank you. Right. So now work with that logic. So the Quran is saying that no vision can. So my point is that in the other verse,
it says in the heaven.
That look towards their Lord. So hold on one second. You got to let me finish my point.
What's your point?
I'm trying to, but you keep interrupting.
I thought that was your point. That was
yeah.
Speak.
So if we're saying that you can't grasp him in his totality, so all vision now sits on a spectrum.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're then saying that in the afterlife, people will see him in a kind of like a slither out of the. Let me finish. Some people will see him in kind of like a slither. Okay, so you're not going to listen.
Please.
So you don't. So I'm going to start again.
Go ahead. No.
I'm going to start again. So in Surah 6, Ayah 103, you and I both agree.
No, what you can see.
You see, he's still interrupting.
Yeah. No,
you're still interrupting.
I'm telling you that.
How about I say my point? How about I say my point?
Say your point.
Okay, so you're saying that Allah can't be seen in his totality.
Perceived.
Okay, it can't be perceived, can't be seen in his totality. Right? No vision can grasp him.
In this life.
But that means that vision now sits in a quantity spectrum, and that quantity is saying that you can't see him. No vision can grasp him. But in the next verse, it's saying that some vision will look towards the Lord, so they will see their Lord. Does it say their Lord, or does it say some part of their Lord?
No, it says their Lord.
Their Lord. So is Allah one, or is he parts?
All right. That's your point.
So if you're going to see him, and he's one, then you see him completely, utterly, absolutely, and that's his totality, because Allah is one.
All right.
Now address that point.
Do you want to say something?
You keep getting stuck on this spectrum thing. Like, you have to understand that you are a religious man yourself. Yeah. We can't fully comprehend the majesty of God in it.
I agree.
Yeah. We're talking about spectrum. This is the worldly, earthly dunya. We have 5 senses. We have smell, sight, whatever.
Yep.
A bat or something he has a different spectrum of hearing to you. Yeah. So subhanallah, it can hear different things.
Yeah.
A dog cannot see the same vision that you can see spectrum-wise.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the Almighty, the Creator, how can you even begin to use these kind of
with your little mind?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So
his point is that why does the Quran says there's a claim that no one can see him, but then in the afterlife, before the
in the hereafter, some people will be able to see.
The other verse, chapter 75, says that some people will be
look towards their Lord.
Yeah. He didn't read. He didn't read the.
No. You're missing my point. You're missing my point.
No.
Is Allah one?
Yeah.
Is Allah a totality?
Yes.
Right. So if you look towards your Lord, there's no seeing him in parts. There's no seeing him in bits.
You're talking about the light, isn't it? You're getting stuck.
No. You're missing the. That was a separate point. I was pointing at a separate contradiction. Right. Separate point.
While I'm addressing your point.
So my point. Okay. Address my point. Address my point, not his point.
You said. I'm telling you that this verse that says that some people are looking toward the gods.
Yes.
Already have to look at this verse that firstly they are in the afterlife.
Yes.
Right. So there is supernaturals that happens there that in our day could be considered as impossible.
Yeah.
Because he created the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
So in the afterlife it's totally different. So there's two parts of people. There's two parties. Parties who are afraid and exhausted and terrorized, and those the other party who are relieved and because they are relieved, they have sent to heaven, and in heaven they will
see their Lord. Right. Hold on one second, because this is my point. If Allah is one, and He is an absolute one, there's no bits, there's no parts.
Yeah.
So one second. The argument, the one verse of the Quran says, no vision can encompass him.
Yes.
But Islam also teaches that Allah is an absolute one.
Yes.
There's no parts. So if another verse of the Quran says, they will look towards their Lord. Well, one second. One second. Why are you interrupting? 1 second. Why are you interrupting? In Islam, why are you interrupting? Okay, I'm just going to talk to you. So in another part of the Quran, it says that in another part of the Quran, it says they will look towards their Lord. Now, if Allah is one, He is absolute. That means that if they're looking towards their Lord, they can't see a bit of Him.
Why did you say
because the sum and the whole are the equal.
Where did you get that?
Like there's no parts, that's the point. So if they're looking towards their Lord, they're seeing Him. And that means vision has encompassed Him because He is one, He can't be seen in bits.
Who told you that
He can't be seen in parts.
Who said that you're going to see more?
So Allah is in parts.
Wait, you might
so Allah is in parts.
Brother, but this is easy, brother.
So is Allah in parts?
You might see an attribute of God.
There you go. No.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I cannot see a part of Him.
You can see so He is a part. So He is in parts.
No, there's a difference when you say, I'll give you a photo of a tree, and they only see, let you see one bit of it, and you say, oh, it's cut in Lego parts. No,
but a tree is not singular. It's not an absolute singular.
Why? It's one thing.
No, because the leaves are distinct from the branches, which is distinct from the trunk, which is distinct from the roots. It is not an absolute one.
And who said that you said Islam said that He's an absolute one? Where did you get
Islam teaches. Islam teaches.
Attributes does Allah have?
Islam teaches.
No, you cannot say
Islam teaches.
Get away with it.
Islam teaches. Are you done interrupting? Are you done interrupting? Are you done interrupting? Are you done interrupting?
3 for 20.
Thank you. So does Islam teach? Let's do it that way. Does Islam teach that Allah is one?
Yeah, Allah is one entity.
One entity, a singularity.
What do you mean singularity by what?
Singularity.
He's above and outside of the universe.
So does He have parts?
No parts.
No parts.
Unless He wills.
Yeah, no parts.
Do you understand?
So your argument about the tree,
should be indivisible.
but the parts. That's exactly what we say about the Trinity, but you don't accept it. So in terms of, so He's not in parts. Thank you. So your analogy to the tree doesn't work.
No,
because the tree has parts.
To me, man.
If I cut off a branch, the tree doesn't disappear. Do you see the difference?
Listen.
Thank you.
Listen. Your point is, it's one thing, right? This is a one bottle.
No, it's not one.
I can see it.
That is not one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. For argument's sake, you can look at a part of it, but you cannot. You can see it all, and you can see only parts of it. So why can't you see only one part?
So that means some vision can see their Lord.
Bro, let me say one thing. Let him say
but maybe we can see the attribute of Allah. Doesn't He have 99 attributes? He's Nur. Maybe this is the light that Allah is talking about. It's not a part, it's an attribute of Allah.
No, Allah's one.
Allah is one.
Still one. This is the answer for Him. Look. You can see Allah's attributes maybe.
Why doesn't Allah...
So that means, but the point is, because now we're talking sensibly, right? The machismo has disappeared from you guys. So now we can have a conversation. That machismo that's coming back from you now. So in terms of your argument, the reason why your argument doesn't work, the reason why your argument doesn't work is because you have to divide Allah into bits you can see and bits you can't see. That's the problem.
You can see God's
because that compromises His Tawhid, His oneness.
You can see God's attributes.
Saying that there's only this way to see God, it's like you're giving a claim that this is the only way you can see God.
You have to divine nature to light. Because you appreciate science, right? Because you know that nothing goes faster than the speed of light. Can you not appreciate then that when we're talking about nur, when we're talking about light, that there may be some kind of incomprehensibility to the way you're trying to discuss it through just linguistics? Do you understand that?
I agree that linguistics limit our discussion about God. Right? But what I'm doing is I'm using what the Quran is saying. Right? So if that means that this perfect Quran that is meant to be clear speech, that's meant to be a guidance for mankind, is failing in the way it's describing.
It's not failing at all. Your understanding is failing.
Can I summarise? Since this started off, I was having one conversation with about one topic. He was a sincere guy. And then this guy derailed us and moved us on to a completely different topic, which is which is contradictions. So let me just sort of close down my position on this question of contradictions.
The reason why he did that was because the guy was sincere, but we saw that he was not really sincere.
No, he jumped in with a completely different topic. We were talking about the Trinity. But let me come back to the kind of summary point, because I think we've kind of exhausted my position, your position. Okay? So, in the Christian faith, what we believe about the Bible is not identical to what you believe about the Quran. You believe about the Quran that it is literally the words of Allah, that it's Nazil, that it's spoken by Allah, was given to the angel Gabriel, who gave it to Muhammad, whose then scribes wrote it down, and it is ad verbatim the words of Allah. Which of course means, yeah, exactly. Which of course means if there are any contradictions in the Quran, any contradictions, the Quran is not true. I'm not being unfair to Islam by saying that. Christians don't have this belief. We don't have that belief. We believe that the words of the Bible are written by men, inspired by God, which means that our need for its absolute perfection in every regard and in every dimension doesn't exist. We don't have to have that. Because as you already know, human language is limited. If we all go away now and we give a written account of what we've just personally experienced, not only will all of our accounts differ, but all of our accounts will miss details. Now, those details, are a degree of its imperfection. Those different accounts, even though every one of them will be honest and true, even though they differ, they will be imperfections.
Language is limited.
But exactly. And so we Christians have a much more mature way of understanding the revelation of Scripture than I say Islam does. Because you set a standard that the Quran doesn't match.
Yeah,
that's my summary statement. What's your summary statement?
Just one thing. That's one of the miracles of the Quran.
Oh, he knows that. He studied it. No. Let me tell you. We believe, you said it perfectly. We believe that the Quran came to Muhammad verbally. That because it's a pure connection from God to Muhammad, and Muhammad to the people at the same lifespan of Muhammad written the Quran. Because immediately after it was verbally came down to Muhammad, it was written.
Similar idea of what you believe in Christianity about the Bible.
Christianity,
don't believe that.
In Christianity, you believe that the Holy Spirit can come to a man and then he will write the scripture. So what Jesus said does not count. It's not important because the Holy Spirit will come again to every priest. So if a priest can lie, nobody can say that he's a liar because the Holy Spirit came on to him. No,
I mean that's not even close to what we believe.
So you cannot follow anyone.
There is no change.
And that's why there's a lot of contradiction in a lot of dominations.
So 1 second. So here's the difference: is I was able to perfectly, and you admitted it, perfectly describe what Muslims believe about the Quran.
Yes.
What Muslims believe about the Quran.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, you were miles off the mark about what we believe about the Bible. Miles off the mark.
Yeah,
so no, 1 second. The difference between us, the difference between us, bro, is that I understand what I'm rejecting in Islam. But you don't understand what you're rejecting in Christianity.
I understand.
Yeah, and what we're saying is that those writings are inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Inspired by. We don't know. I can say,
by the Holy Spirit.
You have to have faith that it's not the shaitan talking to you. And people will follow me.
Well, isn't that what Muhammad said? Isn't that what Muhammad said? That's exactly what Muhammad said.
Muhammad cannot write or read.
Well,
and at the same time.
Firstly, that's disputable.
No,
it is disputable.
No, it's not.
There are some sources that say that Muhammad wrote and he read a contract.
Do you believe in Jesus?
No, that's not what we believe, bro.
He's illiterate.
Muhammad made a claim to be inspired. So your argument is as much against Muhammad as against anyone else. Did Muhammad claim to be inspired? Did Muhammad claim to be inspired?
No. My claim is Jesus said that Prophet Muhammad, when he comes, is an illiterate man. It's in your Bible.
Firstly, that's not true.
No, that is true.
It really isn't.
It really
so you're saying Muhammad was an ignoramus?
No, illiterate.
So illiterate doesn't mean that he couldn't write.
Is different to
exactly. Your claim is that right. Hold on 1 second.
People came to him and just
but that's just Muhammad's claim. His argument is we can't trust the Bible because some people just said I'm inspired. Well, that's exactly what Muhammad did. He said, well, the angel Gabriel came to me. It's exactly the same. So if his argument, we have very different concepts. But this claim of
a man who cannot read or write to suddenly learn how to read or write.
He didn't read or write.
No, but he was.
Did he read or write?
He was able to.
Jibril came to him.
He didn't read or write.
He never read or wasn't able.
That's not a miracle.
Know that.
Is talking a miracle?
Yes.
Talking is, so I'm miraculous. I'm miraculous. So there's nothing special about Muhammad then.
Let me tell you something.
No.
Because all Muhammad did is talk.
You know what's special about
All Muhammad did is talk.
Yeah.
He didn't read, he didn't write, he just spoke, and he claimed that what he was speaking was coming from an angel. That's all he claimed.
You know what's special?
That's not proof of anything. That's not proof. No, it isn't. There's all kinds of contradictions. There's contradictions to science. There's contradictions to geography. There's contradictions to history. There's internal contradictions like the one we've just spoken.
He's ignoring what I said, and he said that that's not true. Jesus said that the Prophet Muhammad,
which is why his argument doesn't work.
Who is illiterate? It's a prophecy. It's a
you weren't paying attention, bro.
Jesus prophecy.
I can tell.
But he's ignoring.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So he was making this argument. He was arguing against the Bible, and he's saying, well, we can't trust the Bible because people just say they're inspired. That's what he was saying. Exactly. But that's exactly what Muhammad said. So it's not really an argument against the Bible because Muhammad also claimed to be inspired by an angel. So that's not an argument against the Bible.
Of course, that's why faith is about belief or disbelief.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I'm going to stop now and get a drink. But like, my point to you is, bro, is that you brought out a contradiction to try and disprove the Bible. But that's assuming a logic that is true about the Quran. So you need to take that test and apply it to the Quran, not the Bible, because we don't believe about our Bible what you believe about the Quran. Like I say, if me and you go away right now and write down what we've just experienced, we both go to the same hotel, sit at the same table, and without talking to one another, write down our own versions of this conversation, and we do it with this commitment to be sincere and truthful, our two versions will not line up perfectly.
You know the verse that you told me about, the contradiction that they will see God?
Yep.
And you need the life. That is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, the only way. Jesus Christ, the only truth. Jesus Christ.
I think you should be charitable, and you should allow Christianity to be more complex than the. 1 second.
I was a Catholic.
That's really a meaningless
over a decade ago myself.
It really is. That's a meaningless thing.
Just to let you know that I'm not biased.
Yeah, from my experience, you are. But in terms of what I would say to you is that you shouldn't judge Christianity by Islamic standards. Judge Islam by Islamic standards, judge Christianity by Christian standards. We Christians don't make the same claim about the Bible that you make a claim about the Quran.
But if I was to judge the Quran by standards, I wouldn't be the first Muslim to have that.
Yeah, and also just on that contradiction that you offered me in the Bible, I just want to give you another interpretation that's amongst the scholars of the Bible about that verse, which is that God allowed. So it's talking about the same event. This is another scholarly opinion. Yeah, this is another scholarly opinion that God allows. So in one verse, basically, it's essentially that God allows or forces David to count Israel through the agency of Satan. One perspective is talking about the fact that God allows it, and the other one is talking about the agency through which it is done. So my point is, we can both reconcile contradictions. We can do this game all day, but it isn't a game that leads us to truth. If you're genuinely seeking the truth, then you've got to use a cleverer, more intelligent way of deciding what the truth is, because we can play the contradiction game over and over and over. For every contradiction you show me in the Bible, I'll show you one in the Quran. We've discussed one.
Wasn't a contradiction.
Well, maybe you didn't follow the argument.
The other chapter was talking about the hereafter.
But the other chapter said no vision. No means no.
But not in the context of the hereafter. It was talking about this worldly matter.
But you're imposing. The Quran gives a statement. No vision can encompass Allah. And you're then imposing this qualification in the Quran that you can't show from the Quran. that it's just in this world. That you show me where it says in the Quran, except in the afterlife.
Yeah, that's why we have to read the entire chapter.
Yeah, which I did,
right?
Which I have.
And then you understand the idea that it's talking about the hereafter.
Yeah, but
Well, you know that already.
Yes, I do know that already. But the no vision means no vision. It's an absolute. So what you need to show me is a verse in the Quran that qualifies that no vision statement, not a verse that contradicts it. All you've done is show me a verse that contradicts it, not a verse that qualifies it.
That qualifies. Qualifies which verse?
So you need to show me a verse that qualifies the one that says no vision can see Allah, no vision can encompass Allah. All you're doing is agreeing with me that there's a verse that contradicts it that says something different.
But then why would I need another verse to affirm the other verse that says that nothing can perceive?
And this is why arguments from contradiction are ridiculous arguments. Because what they...
That didn't make sense.
So let me explain it. Arguments from contradiction rely on prima facie logic, i.e., what does the verse say at first reading? What does it say at plain reading? And the thing is, if that is the limit and scope by which you're going to read the Bible, then that invites me to do the same with the Quran, and we can play this contradiction game all day. It is not a good way to find truth. And if you got duped into Islam because of that kind of logic, then I feel sorry for you. Yeah.
I firmly believe in monotheism.
Yeah. Which is what Christians believe in. We believe in monotheism.
No, really.
No, we do.
I'm not stupid.
We do.
Like I watch so much videos for over 2 years. Bro. Like
okay.
I know
Can you bring me the video that says Christians believe in 3 gods?
But I don't know if I can do that. But
I bet you can't.
Okay. I'm not going to say I can or I can't.
How about you spend the next week finding a video where a Christian says they believe in 3 gods?
Yeah, but more importantly, I wanted to say to you that the Quran that you talk about the contradiction, we've kind of disproved that by telling you that the context is about the hereafter.
No, you try to reconcile a contradiction by saying something that the Quran doesn't say. That's what you try to do.
But it does in the entire chapter when you read it.
But that chapter, the other chapter isn't talking about that verse. That other chapter is talking about something different, and that's why they contradict, because they're talking about 2 different things, but in those 2 different things they make statements that contradict one another. The later verse isn't talking about the earlier verse, and that's why they contradict.
Verse 23 and 22.
The references I gave were 6103 and 75, 22 and 23. Yeah. Those are not talking about the same thing.
Of course. One is talking
Right.
about the hereafter.
But you're using one to qualify the other one.
Yeah, of course. Because
So there you go. So what you're doing is you're making the Quran say something it isn't saying.
No, we're not. The Quran works within and of itself together.
Do you see how we can play this contradiction game?
No, this is just a fact, though. Because the reason why that message is in this chapter is because this chapter is talking about a certain type of a message.
Yeah.
And this one's talking about another.
And they make statements that contradict.
No, because one is talking about the afterlife, one is talking about the current life. Sir.
And but they're both talking about vision.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the one commonality between both of them is vision. Yes, brilliant.
But the difference
and the difference is one is talking about vision in the next life, one is talking about vision in this life. But the verse that is talking about vision makes an absolute statement that no vision can see Allah. If no vision can see Allah and Allah is one, then if any vision sees any part, I mean that should worry you. If any vision sees anything of Allah, if they see anything of Allah, they see the totality of Allah, because Allah is an absolute. You don't see the sum, the bits are equal to the whole, and the whole is equal to the sum. So there is no seeing a part of Allah. You see the totality of Allah because Allah is an absolute one.
That's if it says that in the Quran, unless that's your comprehension.
Are you saying Allah is not an absolute one?
No, I'm saying the fact that you're saying that if you see Allah, you see absolutely.
Yeah, it logically follows. that if Allah is an
comprehension, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because my comprehension is different to yours, and I'll explain mine.
We saw that with the Trinity.
Mine is that Allah has attributes, and I can see an attribute of Allah.
Yeah.
One of his attributes is light, nur.
Yes.
Right.
Which is a comparison to a created thing, but that's another problem.
It's an attribute of the Lord.
It's a comparison to something created, which is a problem, another problem in the Quran.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, but I'm going to go get a cup of tea. You're more than welcome to join me if you want. Anyway, it was nice talking to you.
Good talking to you, Bob.
Yeah.
Next time, bro, be polite to us. And
all right. Yeah, don't call me a dog and interrupt and jump in. Yeah, we can all be better. We can all be better.
All right, bro.
Yeah, come and join me. Yeah.
Wrap up or that's it?
Basically, guys, the nice conversation that I was having about the Trinity was derailed by one of the Muslim brothers who wanted to talk about his contradiction. A contradiction that is easily reconciled. A prima facie contradiction is at first reading, at face value. And we can play the contradiction game forever. I can find loads of prima facie contradictions in the Quran, and I accept that Muslims can find loads of prima facie contradictions in the Bible, and I accept that Muslims can come up with their reconciliations, just like Christians can come up with their reconciliations, and the reality is that kind of discourse does not lead you to truth. So Muslims, expand your mind, think to a higher level. This kind of thinking isn't getting you anywhere, and all it does is gives me a stick to beat the Quran with. So let's try and look at better, deeper things. Christians don't make the claim about the Bible that Muslims make about the Quran. We don't say that it's literally the words of God. And if we say that it's literally not the words of God, but literally the words of men inspired by God, that allows us, as it were, things like, for instance, if you go away and you write out your account of what you've just watched on video and compare them to one another, they won't match. But it doesn't mean that you lied. It doesn't mean that you told a mistruth. It doesn't mean that you were misleading. The fact that stories told from different perspectives don't match, at a prima facie level you can say have contradictions, but no one who is sensible would say that these different narratives are false because they're not identical. But then when the Quran claims to be from Allah but contradicts history, contradicts science, contradicts geography, and contradicts itself, then obviously I'm right to say that it's not from God, because the Quran says if it was from any other than Allah, I would find contradictions therein.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Sid.